How dare you touch that necklace? Victoria Langford's icy voice sliced through the golden glow of the ballroom like broken glass. Her eyes locked on the sparkling diamond heirloom draped around the neck of her housekeeper, Denise Carter, a necklace worth more than most people's homes. The music died. Conversation stopped. Every guest turned to stare. Denise froze, her dark skin shimmering with nervous sweat under the chandelier's light, her trembling fingers instinctively brushing the cold gems at her throat. "Mrs. Langford, it's not what you think," she whispered, her voice breaking. But Victoria stepped closer, her heels echoing like a judge's gavel. "Not what I think. You're wearing my family's most precious treasure. This is theft, and I should have you arrested right now." What happened next would silence the room and rewrite everything they thought they knew about loyalty, love, and betrayal. For nearly 5 years, Denise Carter had worked for the Langford family in their sprawling Connecticut estate. She was more than a housekeeper. She was the one who kept the mansion spotless, remembered every birthday, and knew exactly how each family member took their coffee. Victoria Langford, a statuesque blonde in her 50s with a reputation for perfectionism, rarely trusted anyone. But somehow, Denise had earned her trust, almost. Denise was in her late 30s, with deep brown skin, short natural hair, and a quiet elegance that made her stand out from other staff members. She moved through the house like a shadow, efficient, discreet, invisible when needed. But behind Denise's calm smile was a life she rarely talked about, a teenage son named Marcus, a mountain of medical bills from his ongoing heart condition, and a painful past that had taught her never to rely on anyone but herself. The Langfords paid well, but life in their mansion also came with unspoken rules. One of those rules was clear: never touch the diamond necklace. The Langford diamond necklace wasn't just jewelry, it was legend. 22 flawless stones set in a vintage platinum chain, passed down through generations. Victoria's grandmother had worn it at her wedding in 1932. Her mother had worn it to meet the president in the 1960s. And Victoria herself had worn it at her own wedding and at the charity galas that kept her name in the society pages. It was worth an estimated $2.4 million, but to the Langfords, it was priceless. The necklace lived inside a velvet-lined, bulletproof display case in the master bedroom, never touched except for rare occasions. And no one, not even Victoria's closest friends, was allowed to wear it. Denise had dusted around that display case 1,000 times. She never opened it. She never even looked at the necklace too long. She knew better. The Langfords' annual charity gala was the highlight of the season, a lavish event that drew celebrities, politicians, and old-money elites from across the country. Denise's job that evening was simple: supervise the catering staff, keep the champagne flowing, and make sure the guests never saw anything out of place. At 7:45 p.m., the mansion was already buzzing with music and chatter. Victoria descended the grand staircase wearing a midnight blue gown and the diamond necklace. The gems caught the light with every step, scattering rainbows across the walls. Denise watched from the corner of the room, admiring how regal her employer looked. At 8:30 p.m., Victoria disappeared upstairs for a private moment with a senator's wife. At 8:45 p.m., Denise noticed the necklace was no longer around Victoria's neck. 10 minutes later, a murmur swept through the guests. Heads turned. Glasses stilled midair. Denise realized all eyes were on her. She reached up instinctively, and her fingers met cold, hard diamonds. The room fell silent as Victoria's voice cracked through the air. "How dare you touch that necklace?" Denise's knees felt weak. She had no idea how the necklace had gotten there. One moment she was carrying a tray of champagne flutes, the next, it was around her neck. "Mrs. Langford, I swear." "Swear? You're wearing it." Victoria's face was flushed with fury. "You've been in this house all these years, pretending to be loyal, and all along you've been waiting for your chance to steal from me." The guests whispered, their eyes darting between the furious hostess and the trembling housekeeper. "I should have you arrested right now," Victoria hissed. "Do you know what this means in Connecticut? Grand larceny. You'll go to prison for years." Tears blurred Denise's vision, but she stood her ground. "If you'll just give me one chance to explain." There's nothing to explain. But there was. And the truth would shake the Langfords to their core. Victoria's husband, Charles Langford, was a quieter man, tall, with graying hair and a tendency to avoid confrontation. But even he was glaring at Denise now. "Charles," Victoria demanded, "call the police." Before he could reach for his phone, a voice cut through the crowd. "Wait." It was Henry, the head of security. He was holding a tablet. You might want to see this first. He tapped the screen, and the security footage from the upstairs hallway began to play. There was Victoria, walking toward the master bedroom with the senator's wife. She unlocked the display case, removed the necklace, and clasped it around her own neck. Then she closed the case, without locking it. A few minutes later, a shadow moved across the frame. A man tall, wearing a black suit, entered the bedroom. His face was hidden from the camera, but his build was unmistakable. Charles Langford. The guests gasped. The footage showed Charles opening the case, taking something small from inside, and then walking out. Moments later, the video switched to a camera in the kitchen hallway, where Charles slipped up behind Denise as she carried a tray, unclasped the necklace from around his own neck, and placed it around hers. Victoria's head snapped toward her husband. Charles, what is this? Charles's jaw clenched. It's not what it looks like. Henry didn't let him finish. We have more footage. The video changed to an earlier date, 3 months ago. The same man, Charles, standing in the master bedroom late at night, removing a diamond bracelet from the display case and sliding it into his pocket. The room went dead silent. Victoria's face drained of color. You've been stealing from me? Charles swallowed hard. It's not stealing if it's mine too. I paid for plenty of that jewelry. Victoria's eyes blazed. That necklace was my grandmother's. You had no right. Denise's voice shook as she finally spoke. Mrs. Langford, I didn't steal anything. He put it on me. I didn't even notice until everyone was staring. Henry nodded. That's what the footage shows. She's innocent. The truth came out in pieces. Charles had been quietly selling off bits of Victoria's jewelry to pay off gambling debts. The necklace was his last big payout. He had a buyer lined up overseas. By slipping it onto Denise, he planned to create a scene, have her arrested, and claim the necklace had been stolen and lost. The insurance payout would have cleared his debts. Victoria's hands trembled, but her voice was steel. Get out of my house, Charles. Charles tried to protest, but the security guards closed in. The guests began whispering again, this time about the shocking betrayal they had just witnessed. Victoria turned to Denise, her eyes softening. I owe you an apology. I accused you without listening. You've served this house with loyalty for years, and Denise shook her head. You don't need to apologize. Just, please don't ever think the worst of me again. Victoria paused, then took the necklace from Denise's hands and clasped it back into the display case. You're more than a housekeeper to me. You're family. For the first time in years, Denise felt truly seen. The Langford Gala became infamous, not for the charity it supported, but for the scandal it revealed. Charles Langford quietly left town, his reputation in ruins. Denise continued to work for Victoria, but now she was treated with a new kind of respect. And the diamond necklace? It stayed locked away, not because Victoria feared theft, but because it had become a reminder that trust was more valuable than jewels. Like, subscribe, and share this video if you enjoyed this story. How did you find my story? And from which city or country are you watching this video? Tell me in the comments.